Welcome to the first of my videos on the Kermesses that I raced in Belgium. A couple of things to note is, first of all, the power you see on the right hand side of the screen was a real pain in the butt to figure out how to put on, and it is also off by a few seconds, as you can see here. I'm going to start sprinting out of this corner, and then it'll pop up here now. This race was arguably the hardest I did in Belgium, and it's the one that sticks in my head the most, because this race had one major feature that set it apart from the rest that we did, and that was that it had a major for Belgium hill in it. And as it was, I was pretty excited about it because it gave me a chance to maybe do something special here. And what ended up happening was I felt really good, and positioning really cost me today. My inexperience when it comes to handling at this level and just positioning a pack this strong was really exposed today. So this has been kind of painful to go back and watch through, as I'm now watching it again probably a month and a half after the fact. So this is the approach into the left-hand turn into a bottom climb. I don't know what I'm doing here. I am just giving up so many positions here that I honestly don't remember what was going through my head. That was just like, oh, I'll sit all the way off. I don't know why that would make sense at all. It almost cost me here because there's a near crash that happens. I have to go off into the gravel, and I could have gone a puncture right there. And get back onto the road fine. Here's the left-hand corner. This race, the first few laps, I'm really just trying to learn the corners as well. Like this corner, it has that little pothole inside that really made me nervous whenever I was going through that corner. But now this was, as you see here, a little, almost a 900-watt sprint coming out of that climb. That was the base of the climb. I didn't show it all because I don't want to make this video too long, and a lot more action happens the second time around. So the first time the climb was pretty chill. I think a small break went up the road, and I kind of just got to feel the pace up it. Felt super easy up it. Went for a move to try to get out the left-hand side here, past a few teammates, and right here I think I should have just punched in and got to the very front. It was something where I was, okay, I don't want to end up on the very front, but knowing what I do about this corner at the top of the climb, I should have just gone to the very front. You see a couple people surging past there. That would have been the perfect wheel to grab and follow. I think here in a second I let my teammate out here to the right. I allow Lucas to get out in front of me. And really, I should have been really aggressive on sticking to the right and just trying to stick as far up in the pack as possible. Because here, I get pushed out wide, and I lose probably 25 positions through this corner because I take it much too wide, and then I almost get gutted by this guy in blue socks come past, and I have to kind of really tug on the brakes in order to keep myself from hitting that curb. And now I'm on this downhill, which junior gears and someone as light as me is not a great place to be. As you can see here, I'm doing close to 120 RPM whenever I am pedaling, over 120 there, and I'm losing position. I literally don't have a big enough gear to do this. I have to be directly in the draft. And so by the end of this descent, I will have been at the very back again, trying to figure out how this corner is here, 40-mile-an-hour corner here at the base, and then sprint again back up to speed. Thankfully I have a draft here, but in my head I'm really frustrated right now, just because, and not just in my head then, I'm very frustrated watching this now. But this is just probably a kilometer later, we're back on the narrow roads, and I just am thinking in my head, okay, I gotta get back up to my front. I have a teammate here, it'd be nice if he comes with me, but I just have to get back up to the front. This road right here is really broken up going into that right-hand corner. You can see right there. This corner will eventually get some people later in the day, and then it's followed by a quick left. This is, I think, one of 3 places on the course where it has a quick right then left, or left then right. And honestly, that's what really sets Kermesse racing apart from anything I've done in the US, is that you get really cool courses like this. You see here, we are completely strung out along this road. Here, we got guys going off the road a little bit. We'll have someone coming with a puncture right there. And we are lined out for probably, I don't know, 250 meters. You see the guys going around the building up there, single file all the way. And right now, I'm just trying to keep my head up, trying to make sure no big splits happen in front of me. But if a split happens 20 riders up, I'm not going to be able to do anything about it, especially not on this flat, fast part of the course. So here we go, we go into this right-hand corner. Really trying to figure out these corners here, and as usual, you always sprint out of them. So here we go, back onto the wide road that goes back to the start of the course. And this is, keep in mind, this is just the first lap. This is my 3rd or 4th time going over 800 watts out of the corner, and we are on the first lap of this course, and we are already having people falling off the back on the flat. I mean, we're doing 34 on a pan flat road, and you see me and my teammate here, who has, shout out to Ethan here on my left, who has probably the most aggressive handlebar setup I've ever seen, at least in person. Yeah, we fight back onto the base here, and then we have the cobbles going through town, which were annoying, but not too bad. I mean, you have to deal with them, so you get over it. But you'll hear my GoPro rattling quite a bit through here. And try to push back into the group. I know I have to try to find a way to make up position here, because otherwise I'm just gonna end up too far back at the base of the next line. And another puncture. Guys are falling left and right. It's either punctures or just fatigue. I bet cramps as well. Here we go. This shows just how crazy these corners are. We are at a dead stop doing track stands essentially, and then it's click, 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 click as we shift back up and sprint out of the corner at max pace. You got a couple teammates here, but I know I need to keep moving up, because I think we should be able to see just over on the left here. We'll soon see how far ahead the rest of the field is. There it is. You can see right there in that gap between the riders. That's the front of the field. We got a long way to go get to the front of it. I've probably got maybe 15 guys all strung out behind me, and I'm trying to move past this guy in the black jersey here. He takes a really good line there. I'm going for the outside. There's another one of those left and right hand turns. Sprint again, and honestly, it was such a new concept to me, just staying cornering this extreme and this constant. And here, like, I'm pushing up on the right hand side, going around the outside, trying to get into this gap. Here I should have kept on pushing until I got to the guy in the black and red jersey. I would have made up 3 spots. Here I almost get pushed onto the cobbles. Give a little height, make sure he doesn't completely push me there. Almost get to the black and red jersey here, sneaking up on the inside of the, I think it was a Monty Gilbert development team. And here we are. I have to get that wheel as we sprint out. This was probably the part of the course that I was always most worried about, because it's a super fast section, and it's the final corner before a long straightaway, and we get going so fast out of this. We got a teammate here. Do I land in the wheel? No, but he ends up in front of me. So this is the first climb where stuff really starts to happen. Out of that corner, I'm still too far back. I wasn't able to make up enough positions. And as I said, that was the story of the day for me. But here, I kind of start peeking ahead, looking, okay, The riders are all over the road. Pack's not bunching up as it did on the last lap, so I have to check. And I check up the road, see some people starting to fall off, and I move up. This is probably 250 meters later on the climb, and you see the group is just starting to fall apart. I am pushing way too much power in order to just make up positions, especially only on lap 2. I mean, I'm feeling $1 million. Like, while I feel like $1 million, it's gonna cost me in the end. You can only do this effort so much. I think I set a top 10 overall time for the day. So I was one of the 10 fastest riders up the climb for the day. And I was, I think, 2 or 3 seconds faster than any of my teammates up the climbs. And so that this early in the race and with no benefit, doing that just to catch back on, really started to wear on my legs in the 5th and 6th laps of this race. Still really cautious through this corner at the bottom. And you see there I was almost up to 40, but I took that corner around 27 miles an hour. And honestly, I don't really, you might need to tap the brakes slightly. I don't think you really need to tap the brakes at all there, ideally. But I was just nervous through it, I think, for the majority of the race. And it was only by the end I started to really send it through it. But again, that's just one of those micro thing. Well, it's not really micro, but one of those things where you really just can't afford to be using that extra energy. Here we go. I start to figure out these corners here a little more. I make up one position, which is alright when pack's already spread out. I recognize this bike frame. I recognize this Bianchi from Ireland, so it's good to see a familiar draft, I guess you could say. After that strung out, pack kind of bunches back up, but with how narrow the roads are, it is almost impossible to move up. I mean, I'm sure people manage it, but for me, at my skill level at this time, this seemed like an impossible task to move up. I mean, I would need to be so much more aggressive than I was. This is the right-hand turn after the start. I take it pretty well, pretty smooth through that corner. I don't lose any positions, and I arguably start to move up a few. And pretty happy with that. I just maintained, and then I slip back just again to draft well here. And I take it too wide. I let someone up the inside, and I lose a spot. Here, see, I'm falling back from the blue rider in front of me, and I just completely concede the spot, and now I'm completely reliant on this Pulso rider to pull me back, which he does. And this is the 3rd time up the climb, and this one really shatters the group. I think we lose about half of our team still in the group by the end, and it is just insane. So here we go, the power's about to pull up. What do we start this on? 780 watts it looks like we hit to start the climb, and my heart rate is just gonna go up and up. So here I'm following the wheel, trying to get my, trying to settle into rhythm as we are going so fast up this climb. My cadence is really high. I peek to the left and I see, no, there's a splits forming. I see the group way up there at the front, and I just know if I make this up, I'm gonna burn a couple matches through here, some valuable matches. But I managed to get back to this group, this little group of 3 right here. I take a moment to catch my breath, and then I go around and I start going to work trying to close this gap of maybe 50 meters. And honestly, crossing this gap was one of the best I've felt in Belgium, because I was just in rhythm. Nothing like, I mean, like, I'm dropping some people, but it's also like you're on the tail end of the pack, so you take what you can get. I got two of my teammates here, and I try to give them a little call here, trying to see if they'll hop on the wheel. I take a look behind. He doesn't grab the wheel. Take a look over my shoulder here as I go past another one of my teammates. He isn't able to get on the wheel, so I just kind of accept I gotta make this on my own. I don't think I would have turned over the pacemaking if either of them had, just because I was feeling in such a good rhythm, but it would have been nice to pull some people back. Here I managed to get up to this group, and I am rewarded with the oh so sweet knowledge that someone in this group has let the wheel go as well, and I am now still behind the lane group. You can see there, I think it's light green jersey at the front there, and I just gotta try and make it. I realize that's the tail end of the group right there, and I realized I'm not going to make it before the end of the climb, and if I don't make it before the end of the climb, I'm not going to make it at all. And so I come through this corner, and I sprint for what I have, but it is just, I'm already kind of gassed from doing a huge effort up the climb, and so I look behind to the people that I just passed going, hey, could use some help here, because I'm not the guy, I am not the man you want to try to close this gap on this downhill. So I'm trying to keep steady, but I'm trying to find someone to help. I believe we trade positions a little bit there. See, he's coming through to help. I think we form a group of 3 here. If not already, then we're about to. And we end up working for probably 5 or 6K to try to pull this group back. Honestly, I think we were all pretty drained from the climb, and we're doing our best to hop on. I didn't mean to skip this turn. I mean, it works out, but I'm still doing a huge effort just to get back on. My cornering was just not on par with these guys. And here we're finally caught by a chase group behind, which includes those 2 teammates that I passed on the climb. So I'm really happy about that. I'm kind of looking. A teammate gives me a heads up, similar to what I told him on the climb. Like, hop on. And I'm like, okay. But the problem is here, I'm actually having quite a bit of trouble just finding someone to let me slot into this baseline. There's a couple times where you can see my pace kind of buffering around sweet spots. I'm just like, I'm trying to find someone who's going to let me in. Someone lets me know that that's not my wheel. And I think my teammate here actually eventually lets me in right here, which was great. Now this is the 4th climb of the day. We have that, I almost hit that thing in the corner. Start to sprint again. And you'd see here, I did probably 2/3 of the power that I did out of the corner in the last lap. Trying not to get boxed in. I think I almost tapped someone's wheel there. Make it up the climb. It's splitting across again. I made up gaps again and still ended up behind the split. So here I've decided, okay, I'm not going to try to go around into the wind here on this flat section of the climb. And I'm just going to stay with the group, which is probably would have saved me quite a bit of energy the last lap if I just stayed with the group that I was in. And just kind of trust that these guys are going to help me pull it back. And lo and behold, I mean, I'm doing steady power through here, kind of backing off a little bit before the corner. As we go into the climb, I swing through and then give a little elbow flick to the big guys behind me to get them to help come through. So, I mean, this is, what, the third time I've had to chase back onto the group now, and it's only lap 4. So, yeah, a lot of matches had already been burnt, and the legs that once felt really, really good are now really starting to suffer. Here, once again, I'm getting paranoid about this guy laying the gap open. Honestly, I just felt so out of control, like, kind of helpless to do anything on this descent. Like, I was truly at the mercy of the guys in front of me, and I just had to do my best to stay in the draft, and if I had been better at positioning, I wouldn't have been in this position in the first place. But here you can see, putting out big power, try to grab a draft there for a second, and it looks like he's just hanging it up. And that is something you have to be aware of too. Sometimes it's just like, these races in Belgium are so hard to the point where guys will just cut the engine and fold. Like, guys will be going full out until they literally drop, and then you just have to dodge around them because their engine is completely empty. It happened to me a couple times, it happened to teammates, and it happened to a lot of riders we were racing against. So here I'm taking a pole, trying to push to catch this guy in front, and lo and behold, we start to gain back on the group. The group kind of eases up in front. We got a group that we're working with here. And we slowly pull this group back again. There's a little bit of cat and mouse because, I mean, everyone in this group is already pretty tired, so it can be sometimes a game of chicken of, okay, who's gonna be willing to take the pole to get us there. And this guy just decides, screw it, if y'all are gonna look at each other, I'm just gonna pull it all the way there. Now I think here I would have been willing to give a pole, especially because it seemed inevitable that we were going to get back on. But he just put his head down and decided, I'm gonna get this job done. If you want something done, do it yourself. And here he seems to take that mentality. And I, for one, really appreciate it. So here we get back onto the back of the group, rattling over the cobbles, speed's dropping, and I think, man, how am I gonna reverse, one, the fatigue that's already in my legs. There, you can see as we slow down to the corner, HF guy here almost, black jersey almost goes off the road and tracks down, and then the sprint to the corner. See that? If I may shoot that gap there, I can make up 3 or 4 more positions. It's all marginal gains that very quickly end up adding to very, very big gains. Here, though, we recognize what happens. I mean, that is the risk of these corners, that any moment of falling asleep or any bad luck, you can end up in some Belgian field. And unfortunately, that guy and also there are people ended up doing that. I think I got my share of that. I find a teammate here. I think at this point there is 4 of us left, and I don't know, I wouldn't say resigned, but I just knew in the back of my head that my legs were definitely starting to feel the intensity of what I had already done. Here we are. This is kind of a moment for me to try grabbing fuel, try to just refuel and reload any depleting energy stores, or at least what I can. And you have to stay alert here because the pace has changed so much. We're dropping to 17 miles an hour. I think it's a block headwind through here, which would be why we've slowed down so much and then no one wants to pull. But people were still launching attacks nonetheless. See here, I push through. I'm trying to hold my teammate's wheel here. We can see attacks going off the front there. Here I'm making our positions pretty well, and I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know why I would let his wheel go right there. I managed to close it up there, but I need to be right on it. You see, he ends up ending, what is that, 8 riders ahead of me through the corner. I mean, he changed what was probably 5 feet of space between me and him to all of a sudden it's 8 riders between us, just through one corner. And if I just sat on the wheel, it might have been none, it could have been 0. Here we go. Start to suffer a bit on this climb. My pace is just not there, and I'm just resigned. Okay, I gotta keep it under control. Just try to don't lose all the power. You've only got so much left. And I just try to keep my pace steady, and eventually I know there's guys behind me, so I'm going to take advantage of that. And finally one guy gets in front of me, and I just managed to try to grab that draft and pull myself back onto the back of the group. But by this point, my legs, it's becoming more and more obvious to me that my legs do not have the punch they had what was then about an hour ago. See, it's pretty lined out. Everyone around me is already kind of rocking and rolling, which would have made me nervous if I felt fresh, but it was something that we were all feeling at this point. Here we go, left-hand corner. Once again, full speed sprint to try to get back up to speed. I kind of peek around there. Here you can see I start to take these corners a bit better. Everyone's a bit more relaxed too. You can see the group's really bunched up there. I'm trying to figure out, okay, I need to push up to the right here. Monster guy here closed the door on me a little bit. I think I remember right. This monster guy that I'm just passing now, I believe won the Junior Tour of Ireland. I believe that's him, but I'm not sure. I can't remember from the race. Yeah, I need to push up here on the left and just really hop those wheels. Don't let any gap form. Get right on the Lithuanian wheel here. And we're on to the, I can't remember what number climb this is. Once again, sprint up to speed. I have a teammate just up there that I'm going to try to chase back. And once again, I mean, it gets so strung out of that corner each time, and the speed is so high going into the base. So I just try to focus, make my goal. Okay, I gotta get on Armand's wheel. If I can, I'll try to help him, but at this point, both of us are pretty gassed. I think Armand's got another couple laps more than I do. The group does, though, come back all together on that climb. Armand moving up really well. He was really smooth moving up through the pack. What a save there, honestly. I don't know how you managed to save by unclipping, especially not at the speed we were going up these climbs. But he manages to save it. And I'm trying to just look for some way. I need to move up. Lithuania gets pinched there a little bit. and I gotta find a way to get back to the front while also I'm taking this moment to refuel a bit as well. And now I'll spare you I believe I only have one lap left in me, so I'm gonna spare you having to watch the whole lap. But to sum up, is a right-hand turn, followed by another right-hand turn, followed by another right-hand turn, followed by left-hand turn, followed by right-hand turn, left-hand turn, right-hand turn, left-hand turn, right-hand turn, then a right-hand turn, and then a left-hand turn onto the climb. And that pretty much sums it up. But here we go. We sprint once more time, and I'm quickly greeted by the realization that they are not going to take another climb in a row. 2 climbs in a row easy, and this is going to be a problem for me. I'm pushing 500 watts here, really just starting to feel it, and there's a gap opening in front of me, and I'm just trying to catch my breath, honestly. I know I have to close this gap, and this guy's starting to crack a bit, and I'm trying to push past him, and I just do not have it anymore. And then this guy surges back, insane kick, and my power's dropping there. You can see I'm trying to surge back up to what I was doing, but whereas I was holding anywhere from 370 to 400 watts up it, I was just completely cracking here. So that would end up being it for my race.